Hi, I'm Holly Shay Reynolds, and my presentation will be covering my parent interview. I interviewed the mother of a student in Tennessee. He's in first grade. I wasn't able to interview the parent of the student I observed, so I chose someone that I knew personally. I started the interview by just asking what the behaviors were of the child, especially at school. She said that he just has a really hard time staying focused on what's happening in the classroom. He doesn't have any motivation to sit still in his seat, so he starts wandering around and just kind of doing whatever he wants. The teacher will finally redirect him because he becomes disruptive to the class. And once he's redirected, he will eventually go sit back down. Once he's sitting back down, he kind of zones her out, whatever she's teaching, and doesn't listen to the lesson. He'll start talking to his classmates that sit close to him, and he just really becomes distracting. And so the teacher will correct him again, and then at this point he becomes defiant and just really rude and disrespectful to the teacher. So when he's actually able to sit still, he has a hard time focusing. So she stated that he is becoming just really disrespectful to his teachers, and especially when he is corrected, his behavior is corrected, he struggles with doing anything at all that he doesn't consider fun or something he doesn't choose to do. At home, she said it's almost impossible to get him to do his homework or any reading that he's assigned. All he wants to do is play on the iPad, play video games. Occasionally he'll play outside. She stated that she and his father really push him to do his homework, but when they push him too much, he becomes rebellious, and then it ruins the whole night. He doesn't want to brush his teeth, put his pajamas on, go to bed. Everything becomes a huge ordeal, and he becomes just very angry and refuses everything that they try to get him to do. When I asked her what had been done at school to help him and his undesired behaviors, she said that one of the biggest things is they have given him an option of a wobble stool instead of sitting in his regular chair. So when he is sitting at his seat, he's able to still move around, but this keeps him from walking around the classroom, and he gets to stay at his designated spot. They've also given him items to kind of fidget with or squeeze, or they've put Velcro on his desk to rub when he feels bored. This kind of helps stimulate his senses and help him kind of stay put, but still be able to move around and do something that keeps him occupied. His teacher gives him 5-minute breaks when he needs them. She said that sometimes the breaks help him, but a lot of times they just make him, want to keep staying on that break. He'll have his 5-minute break, and then he doesn't ever want to come back to the classroom and become focused again. He meets weekly with this school counselor, and she's helping him work on increasing his attention span, especially in the classroom. He does best with one-on-one time, especially with any adults. He just really likes that full attention from anyone that he's working with. He really responds better. Also asked her what they were trying to do at home to try to help him. She said they try to get through his homework, but they give him breaks. They'll make him work on his homework for 10 or 15 minutes, and then he has a break. They try to have him come back and tell them when he's ready to continue on his schoolwork. She said sometimes he does really well with that. Sometimes they have to go get him, kind of reel him back in and get him to continue on his work. She said also they're wanting to have some diagnostic testing run. ADHD is highly suspected, as well as sensory processing disorders. She also said that they're really wanting to help him learn that his behaviors are wrong, but they also understand that it's coming from a place that he doesn't understand, and he doesn't know how to change those behaviors. So they're really trying to not be too tough or hard on him, because he can't always control how he's feeling or how he's behaving. She said when they're working on schoolwork, they kind of try to say, let's work on this together, instead of putting all the responsibility on him. She said that makes him feel very pressured, and he doesn't work very well like that. They're also considering ADHD medication. The doctors kind of suggested it, but she said they're kind of really hesitant about doing that, but they're considering it. They just don't want to commit to it yet since he hasn't been fully diagnosed. The student does not have an IEP, goes to a school where they don't do IEPs for any children. It's a private school, and they don't participate in the IEP program. She states that she didn't know a whole lot about them, but if he did have one, that behaviors were probably listed on his goals. The student hasn't had any organized observations, although the occupational therapist has sat in on his class and watched his behaviors, kind of see what may make his school day go a little bit more smoothly. Students' parents want to make sure that their child's needs are being met. The hyperactivity, the anxiety, the attention, and sensory seeking behaviors. However, they want for him and expect for him to be able to sit in class for a decent amount of time. They want to start, with a short period of time, work up to longer periods of time to where he can sit through an entire lesson. And they also want him to understand that he needs to learn how to be respectful to his teachers and adults and classmates and anyone that's trying to give him any direction. She said he really does have a kind heart, but a lot of people don't get to see that because of his behaviors tend to kind of cover that up sometimes. So she really hopes that his personality, his true personality, and his kindness really start to resurface once these improvements are made to his behaviors. I really enjoyed interviewing this parent. She had a lot of good information for me. I could tell she was slightly stressed out about the situation, and I think that's mostly because she sees a lot of potential in her child and she fears that others can't see that. So I'll be keeping in touch with the student's mother to see what changes are made and what methods were most effective. Thank you for listening.